Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so we have a lot of people right now here at our.
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. This is
Good
the
afternoon.
this is the ACMC 2024 online conference presentations. So I hope that everyone is included here and not lost. All right. So before we start, we would like to acknowledge the presence of the president of the Asian Congress for Media and Communication, uh, Dr. Smith Bonchatima. Would you like to give us a few words, Smith?
Yes, thank you very much, Dino. Okay, distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, and valued participants, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the Asian Congress for Media and Communication 2024 International Conference, hosted in partnership with the University of Social Sciences and Humanities Vietnam National University in Ho Chi Minh, lovely city. As we gather virtually today from various corners of Asia and beyond, I am delighted to see such a diverse assembly of media and communication professionals, scholars, and enthusiasts coming together to share knowledge, exchange ideas, and foster meaningful connections. Vietnam, with its rich cultural heritage and rapidly evolving media landscape, Vietnam provides an inspiring backdrop for our discussion today. Although we meet in the digital landscape, the spirit of collaboration and intellectual exchange remains as strong as ever. Today's conference promises to be both enlightening and engaging, featuring presentations from distinguished speakers who will share their insights on the latest developments and challenges in media and communication across Asia. I encourage all participants to actively engage in the discussions, share your perspectives during the open forum, and make the most of this valuable opportunity for professional networking and knowledge sharing if we could. And on behalf of the ACMC, I extremely would like to extend our sincere gratitude to our partners at the University Social Sciences and Humanities at Ho Chi Minh City for their collaboration in making this event possible. Thank you again for joining us today. I look forward to the productive sessions ahead and the meaningful discussions that will unfold. So thank you very much, everyone. Let us begin what promises to be an enlightening and productive conference. Thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Smith Bonchatima, the president of the Asian Congress for Media and Communication. And also in our Zoom meeting this afternoon, we have Ms. Kairia Raman of the Auckland University of Technology. Kairia, would you like to say hi to our participants here online?
Yes, pleasure. I'd love to say hello. Can you hear me, Dinos?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Cool. Okay, I'm turning this thing on. I hope it's working. I'm on my iPad. Sorry, everyone. Lovely to be here in this lovely, beautiful country, and looking forward to see everybody really soon.
Thank you, Kyria, and see you very, very soon. Right. So once again, for all of you who are here, good afternoon. This is the Asian Congress for Media and Communication 2024 online conference presentations. And before we proceed with what we are going to do today, we would like to ask all of you if it is possible if you could switch on your camera so that we can take a screenshot and have a documentary, pictorial documentary of the proceedings of this online conference. Can we do that? There will be several takes because there are so far 4 pages in my Zoom. So please keep on smiling. All right, so we will just be waiting for everyone to open their camera before I start taking screenshots. All right. All right. So the first page is this one. So please keep on smiling because we do not know to which page you belong. Ready? In 3, 2, 1. One more. In 3, 2, 1. One more. Next page. All right. Keep on smiling. In 3, 2, 1. Just a safety shot. One more. All right. In 3, 2, 1. Next page. Okay. Please keep on smiling. 3, 2, 1. And the last page. 3, 2, 1. All right. Thank you very much. You may now switch off your camera if you wish to. Okay, so for our conference proceeding in this online presentation, we will be dividing the room into 2 breakout rooms. So you will be assigned on a specific breakout room, and afterwards, you will all go back to the main room for the second session. So um, the parallel session 1 and 2 will be happening at the same time. It will be from 3 o'clock to 4:30 in the afternoon. So the room will be divided into 2 parallel sessions. And by 4:30 in the afternoon, we will all go back here to the main room, and we will have the third session online. Video. Okay. Video. Wait.
Ano siya eh. Paano mag-breakout? Ikaw mag-breakout?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone, once again, and welcome to the breakout session, Room 2. This is the online conference participation of the Asian Congress for Media and Communication 2024 International Conference in lovely Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. We're glad you could join us today, the 30th of October 2024. My name is Mark Froilan S. Lorente, Secretariat for the Acmc, and I will be your moderator for this session. Our program flow today will be viewing our 7 presenters in sequence, after which we will be opening the floor and the forum for your questions and comments. So, at this juncture, please allow me to introduce our presenters for you. Our first presenter is Candice Faye Kristen Lieses from the University of Mindanao, the Philippines. Her presentation topic is called Transitivity and Representation of Social Actors in Reports of Child Sexual Exploitation in Philippine Online News. Our second presenter, we have Lokesh Sharma, Associate Professor, Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, Banastali Vidyapith from India, co-authored by Garima Sharma, research scholar. Their topic presentation is Role of Rural Media Platform in Rural Education, a case study of Gaon Connection of India. Our third presenter is Carol Ilagan from the Department of Journalism, College of Mass Communication, University of the Philippines, Diliman. Research topic is To Survive and Thrive, a resource-based analysis of independent news organizations in the Philippines. Our fourth presenter is Prihandari Satvikadewi from Universitas 17 Augustus, 1945, Surabaya, in Indonesia, co-authored Hermin Indah, Wayuni, and Rahayu. Their topic presentation is basically Replacing Friends, the mediatization of mental health on YouTube's Menhadi Manusia. Our fifth presenter, we have Surbi Tandon, Guru Gobind Singh, Indraprastha University, New Delhi, India. Co-author, Durgesh Tripathi, University School of Mass Communication, also from Guru Gobind Singh, Indraprastha University, New Delhi, India. Our sixth presenter, we have Nunik Haryanti from Universitas Ahmad Dahlan, Indonesia, co-author Fitrinanda and Nur and Choirul Fadil. Their research topic they will be representing representation of Indonesian culture through children's storybook, Petulangan, Kuliner.
Meeting,
Go.
kaya kailangan taga-Indonesia man eh.
Parang yun yung assignment niyo.
Consent.
Come again.
What? Don't mind. Just go on.
Okay. Our last presenter, we have Somya Jha, Bennett University, India. Research topic is community radio as a media construct, driving social development and sustaining cultural heritage through folk songs. Those are the names of our presenters, and without any further ado, let's begin their presentations.
Sorry, just
My name is Candice Diazes, and I'm from the University of Mindanao. Thank you so much for coming to this Zoom room and lending me 8 minutes of your time. And this is my paper, and I'm going to discuss transitivity and discursive representation of social actors in reports of child sexual exploitation in Philippine online use. Child sexual abuse is an unfortunate reality for those living in the global South, with its with its worst manifestations brought about by a kaleidoscope of factors, including poverty, technological advancements, lack of education, and many more. So during COVID, what we saw was there was an exponential rise in sexual crimes perpetrated against children, especially since the start of lockdown. For coming to this Zoom room and lending me 8 minutes of your time. And this is my paper, and I'm going to discuss transitivity and discursive representation of social actors in reports of child sexual exploitation in Philippine online use. Child sexual abuse is unfortunate reality for those living in the global South, with its with its worst manifestations brought about by a kaleidoscope of factors, including poverty, technological advancements, lack of education, and many more. So during COVID, what we saw was there was an exponential rise in sexual crimes perpetrated against children, especially since the start of lockdowns in March 2020. So where does this study come in? We know that media is a very powerful institution with a capacity to shape public opinion through how they cover and frame issues, who they interview, what kind of words they use. And what this does is, it's very important in making tangible changes in society, such as in pushing new legislation or new policies. However, during our review of current literature on the subject, we actually saw that not a lot or not at all, to the best of my ability, of the studies on CSE focus on the linguistic aspects of the issue, especially in the Philippines. So I sought to fill that gap. For this paper, for this discussion and in the interest of time, I'll go mostly discuss the second question, and I'll try to incorporate many of the discussions in the first question there as well. For my kind of theoretical framework, basically, I use media discourse framework by Fairclough, which essentially kind of aims to highlight the nature of media power through an analysis of media language. And I analyze the language of media through what we call the transitivity system, which is by Halliday in 1994. So for those who aren't familiar, transitivity belongs to the realm of the ideational metafunction in systemic functional linguistics. And what it is it's a grammatical resource for how we understand the world. So using transitivity, We look at structural configurations consisting of usually a process, which is usually a verb, participants usually in the form of pronouns and nouns, and circumstances that are associated with it, to look at discourses, representations, ideology, so on and so forth. So there are 6 main types of transitivity processes. We can find them over here. And for my materials and methods, I took 15 articles from 5 news organizations. All are online, and these are those 5. I did not include in my analysis videos, pictures, graphs, and hyperlinks. As you can see in this graph, this very tiny graph, the most common kind of processes of transitivity that we find is material, verbal, relational, and mental processes. Unfortunately, I won't be discussing this. I'll try to incorporate that onto the next discussion instead, which is the discursive representation of social actors. So much of the data centered around these key social actors that you can see in the slide here. But I think what's really interesting is how a lot of the people that you might expect to be mentioned or interviewed, such as psychologists, first responders, and social workers, are not mentioned or alluded to at all in the news articles. Most likely because many of the information from the news articles come from NGOs and press conferences from government and police institutions, which legitimizes the dominance of the government and discourses of CSE while minimizing the voice of the victims and the people who actively work with them. So the first key social actor that we have here is the government. They're represented in the news reports as powerful, capable of action against CSE. They're also punitive, and a lot of the good things that they're doing are highlighted, while a lot of the kind of systemic problems that plague us, such as poverty and lack of education, which are the most common reasons of child sexual exploitation, are de-emphasized through processes of backgrounding and omission. So we also see NGOs in the form of nonprofits and organizations such as the Associated Press are knowledgeable, cooperative, and advocatory. The government officials often cite them to back up their claims and provide background to the issues that they go and talk about in the news articles. On the other hand, perpetrators are often shown to have both agent and patient status, although the latter is shown to be more frequent, meaning they're more likely to be receivers of actions, and these are often punitive actions. So they're often unnamed and unspecified. They're just called child sexual offender or, something like that. However, unless the perpetrator is female. So when they're more likely to be foregrounded in the news articles, probably because it's more newsworthy and it's more likely to gain attention due to its stark contrast against entrenched gendered assumptions in society about women as the de facto caretakers of children, and that they are the caring, protective, nurturing sex. And lastly, of course, children. So we see children as victims, and they're shown to be passive receivers of government action. They're mostly rescued and protected, and they have very little voice in the text and have no direct attribution to verbal attributes. So this is in support of current studies positioning that adults and state actors are shown to control the nature and exercise of their rights, and that children's sexualities are solely under the auspices of other more powerful social actors, such as as posited by Egan and Hawkes and Levesque. So in the reports, all but one of the victims were interviewed, probably because there's a lot of paperwork involved in interviewing minors in general. But I think that the omission of the victim's voice is noteworthy because of the topic of child sexuality is still considered a societal taboo in the Philippines and many other Asian nations. So some of the news reports actually posited that some of the victims of CSE may have willingly sought out opportunities to participate in CSE for economic reasons, such as paying for their school expenses. However, reports do not address why these children feel compelled to engage in such unlawful activities to fund their education, such as poverty and other systemic barriers hindering their access to basic rights. So what we see in CSE discourse in the Philippines is that children are unwilling sexual subjects, incapable of exercising agency, performing resistance, and negotiating ethics. And overall, this poses a potential harm as they may lead to feelings of shame from the child and make them less likely to disclose sexual abuses. So here are my implications for practice. I won't read it aloud, but in general, a push essentially on more ethical coverage of these kinds of issues and more widespread and comprehensive sexual education for children. These are my references as well. Thank you so much for listening, and I'd be very happy to answer any questions.
Hello everyone. Our research paper is Role of Rural Media Platform in Rural Education, a case study of Gaon connection of India. Gaon is a Hindi word. The meaning of Gaon is village. Providing a quality education in rural areas in rural area present unique challenges that are not present in urban areas. Rural areas often have a high rates of poverty, which may lead to a lack of funds for specialized instruction such as quality education. Rural social dynamics and practices are also different from non-rural areas, which affect how people interact there and how to engage with each other in schools and districts. They are facing difficulties in recruiting educators and teachers. Hello everyone. Our research paper is Role of Rural Media Platform in Rural Education, a case study of Gaon connection of India. Gaon is a Hindi word. The meaning of Gaon is village. Providing a quality education in rural areas in rural area present unique challenges that are not present in urban areas. Rural areas often have a high rates of poverty, which may lead to a lack of funds for specialized instruction such as quality education. Rural social dynamics and practices are also different from non-rural areas, which affect how people interact there and how to engage with each other in schools and districts. They are facing difficulties in recruiting educators and teachers, especially in high need subjects like advanced math, science, foreign languages, and special education. Is another challenge which is which faced by rural schools. And to address these kind of challenges, it is very important to first define a specific rural setting and community school before determining appropriate solution for providing a quality education. Gaon Connection is an organization which is started by Nilesh Mishra. He's a journalist and he founded this organization in 2012. This organization focuses on rural India's voice through news, story, podcasts, multimedia content, and empower rural communities with educational resources, health, information, government insights. And this includes training rural journalists, conducting surveys to understand the rural issues better, and organizing an event to facilitate discussion on rural events. This platform is known for conducting extensive surveys which provide a valuable insight into the condition of opinion of rural population. These are some few examples which we reviewed of during this research paper. Research question. We took two questions. How does Gaon Connection educate rural masses through connecting with teachers, and what initiative they are taken by Gaon Connection to educate rural masses? The objectives of research paper is to understand the role of Gaon Connection in educating rural masses through connecting the teachers and to analyze the teacher connection initiative of Gaon Connection. We did a case study and qualitative research in research methodology and design, and we took a sample of 30 people from various stakeholders through purposive sampling. And in-depth interviews we conducted with the respondent to collect primary data and secondary data from correction archives, digital platforms, and YouTube was analyzed. And the time period we took for this research paper for this data collection or data analysis from January 2024 to June 2024 with the help of thematic analysis. Our findings are how Gaon Connection uh, uh, do content dissemination. First is multiple approach. Gaon Connection use variety of media formats such as articles, videos, podcasts, radio program to disseminate educational content. Gaon podcast, Nilesh Mishra Community Rural TV, Gaon Radio. These are some few examples with the help of Gaon Connection use a number of platforms to distribute their content. Second is connecting teachers and students with the help of digital platform, and those who don't have the access of digital devices, they are conducting radio programs to broadcast to reach a student. And third is training and empowering teacher. With the help of workshop, with the help of training programs, they focus on innovative teaching techniques, digital literacy, and specific subject training. Resource sharing. This platform facilitates the sharing of educational resources among teachers, including lesson plans, teaching aids, and best practices. And this collaborative approach helps to improve overall quality of education in rural area. Gaon Connection focus more and more on local issues and local contacts. They focus how local culture, traditions, their practices, and their knowledge they can fit into the curriculum, making learning more relatable and applicable for rural students. They provides agriculture education to modern farming with the help of modern farming techniques, sustainable practices, agriculture innovation. This helps farmers and their families to improve their livelihood. Community engagement. This platform encouraged local community members, including parents, village leaders, volunteers, to participate in educational processes, and this community involvement helps to create supportive environment for students also. And with the help of feedback mechanism, data driven approach also allow for development to target intervention and programs. Gaon Connection runs a special educational initiative such as the Swayam project, which focus on empowering rural women through education and the skill development. These programs specific designed to fulfill the educational gap. The collaboration. This platform is collaborate with educational institutes, NGOs, government agencies to bring quality education to rural areas. Teacher Connection. Teacher Connection is a project which run by a Gaon Connection. It comes under the Gaon Connection only, which is launched on January 2023, and this Teacher Connection initiatives highlights the stories of rural educators across 11 states and produce a book and monthly e-magazine with teacher resources and inspiring stories. And this initiative basic aim to document and share the stories of rural educators who make significant and often unrecognized contribution to their communities. Book 100 Tales of Teacher Transforming Education in Rural India, monthly e-magazine, focus on marginalized community. The Teacher Connection project is plays significant role for several reasons. They bring much needed recognition to rural teachers who often unnoticed despite their vital role in shaping the future of communities. And with the help of documentation, documenting this story, this project raises awareness about the challenges and achievement of rural educators in highlighting their contribution to improving literacy and education in remote areas. And this monthly e-magazine and other resources provides practical support and innovative ideas to help teachers to improve their teaching practices and better support in their particular rural areas and communities, which is very beneficial for students. These are some of the highlights related to Teacher Connection. The conclusion is the Gaon Connection adopted the model of development communication, which is called kind of intervention that reaches out of the people digitally. And Teacher Connection use a multimedia approach to disseminate educational content in local languages, which is focused on connecting teachers and students through digital platform with the help of radio, with the help of podcast, with the help of newspaper, with the help of and number of multimedia contents, which support teachers through training and resources and community engagement, and especially focus on marginalized community and innovative teaching methods. Thank you.
My name is Carol Ilagan from the Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carol Ilagan from the University of the Philippines, Diliman. Thank you very much for this opportunity. In the next 8 minutes, I will be presenting parts of my extended abstract titled To Survive and Thrive, a resource-based analysis of independent news organizations in the Philippines. I'll be covering the introduction, methodology, and some of my preliminary results and discussion. The emergence of independent news organizations in the Philippines, similar to many other countries, particularly in the Global South and Southeast Asian region, has been significantly shaped by historical events. The demand for alternative news sources in restricted democracies during the 1980s and the 1990s, for example, played a crucial role in the establishment of such newsrooms in Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, and Thailand. In the Philippines, the end of martial rule under the dictator Ferdinand Marcos Sr. saw the rise of the Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism, or PCIJ, a Manila-based investigative nonprofit. Several years later, Vera Files, also based in Manila, and the Davao-based Minda News were formed, further filling in the information gaps that mainstream and corporate media could not fully address in the Philippines. These startups then have been able to thrive, surpassing the crucial first 5 years of operations when news ventures are known to be most vulnerable and at risk to fail. Today, as we can observe, the last decade has seen the rise of new media startups that all offer new forms of news products under a social media first strategy. Among these are Commoner, known for its compelling interpretations of news stories; Fight Media, a nonprofit focused on amplifying local voices; and Puma Podcast, the first podcast production company in the Philippines. Their creation was not prompted by political upheavals, but rather as an answer to the disruption brought on by the internet and social media, including but not limited to the emergence of user-generated content, disinformation, and public distrust. They all gain traction on social media where competition for readership and engagement is most fraught. However, these new startups are not immune to the series of setbacks that newsrooms worldwide face, with sustainability at the crux of the problem. So this is precisely why I thought about doing this study, primarily because in the first place, independent news organizations or news ventures created by one or more individuals working for themselves and not for owners are understudied in the Philippines and Asia in general. As well, a research about media sustainability models or business models applicable for independent news organizations are scarce, especially in the context of the Philippines or the Global South. It is equally important to track current developments given the continually changing news landscape, and the need to sustain independent journalism in these countries. So for my framework, I thought of using a common framework which is used in the field of business called the resource-based view framework. So this is essentially a management framework which posits that companies must acquire and control valuable, rare, inimitable, and non-substitutable resources and have the organization to apply these to generate a sustained competitive advantages. Despite the limitations, given that this is more applicable in the management field, I thought that there's a lot to gain by using this framework. So for my study objectives, using again the resource-based view framework, I hope to identify the key resources used and developed by the new startups and assess their level of value, rarity, inimitability, non-substitutability, and organization. As well, I also want to examine the editorial and social media approaches of these new startups and the business models supporting these strategies. In practical term, essentially, I would like to know more about the sustainability model for these new startups and its advantages and disadvantages. In broad terms, I hope to provide some guiding principles for building sustainable, independent news ventures in the Philippines.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Prihandari Satvika Dewi, and I'm a lecturer from the Communication Department at the University of 17 August 1945, Surabaya, Indonesia. I'm really excited to share with you today our research titled Replacing Friends, the Mediatization of Mental Health on YouTube, Menjadi Manusia. I'd also like to introduce my co-authors, Mrs. Hermin Indah Wahyuni and Mrs. Rahayu, who contributed to the study. Now, let's dive in. Mental health awareness has been growing rapidly in Indonesia over the past 5 years. Almost 35% of Indonesian adolescents experience some kind of mental health problem, and about 5.5% face more severe mental disorders. The statistics reflect an increasing recognition of mental health issues in our society. What's interesting is how mental health conversations are now everywhere, in the media, on social platforms, and even in casual conversation. Talking openly about mental health is no longer considered taboo. You might have heard the term kena mental. It's an Indonesian term circulating online, and it's a popular way of describing someone who is emotionally struggling, almost like a meme to describe moments of mental distress. But behind these slang terms lies a serious societal shift. For example, about 30% of Indonesians have turned to teleconsultation apps for mental health support because they are easier to access. Among these digital platforms, there is one that stands out, Menjadi Manusia, or Becoming Human. What makes it special? It offers mental health education for free through storytelling, a deeply human approach. Our research asked the question, how does the YouTube series Menjadi Manusia contribute to the mental health conversation or discourse? And what methods does it use to engage viewers and make mental health resources more accessible? Menjadi Manusia is more than just a YouTube channel. It's a social enterprise that's been around since 2018. One of the co-founders, Raka Ganisatria, actually shared his own story of living with ADHD and how that experience shaped his journey. His personal story inspired the platform's mission. Since it launched, their YouTube channel has grown to over almost 1 million subscribers and amassed more than 48 million views across 535 videos. Now, at the heart of this research is mediatization theory. This theory looks at how media doesn't just spread information, but actually reshapes how we live our lives. A few key ideas from this theory are especially relevant. First, media as a driving force. It influences how we think, how we behave, and how we interact. Second, social changes. Media isn't just a reflection of society, it reshaped it. Third, media logic. To fit within media framework, people and institutions adjust their behavior to match the demands of visibility and immediacy. And four, extension and substitution. Media can extend real-life experiences into the virtual world and sometimes even replace them. So in this context, Menjadi Manusia isn't just communicating information about mental health, it's actively shaping how we understand and engage with it. As our method, we use digital discourse analysis. This involves 4 steps: preparation, development, visualization, and synchronization. We analyze how Menjadi Manusia creates its content and engage with its audience. And what did we find? Since 2018, Menjadi Manusia has been producing content that covers everything from personal storytelling to mental health awareness and even cultural reflection. There are few common themes across their videos: personal stories about life struggles, mental health challenges like depression, anxiety, ADHD, and schizophrenia, coping strategies for stress and trauma, identity and self-worth, sometimes exploring topics like sexual orientation and something more private, inspirational stories of resilience and growth. These are all shared in an incredibly intimate and human way, making the viewer feel connected. From a media decision perspective, we see how platforms like Menjadi Manusia are becoming crucial companions in people's mental health journey. This is largely because of something called parasocial interaction, where viewers feel like they are building emotional connection with the people they watch, even though it's one-way relationship. Through this connection, viewers like they are part of a supportive community. Let's break down how this happens using media decision process. First, extension. The platform extends the friendship into the virtual space. They use small, cozy setups and medium close-up shots to make it feels like an intimate conversation with friends. Second, substitution. This virtual friendship can start to replace real-life bonds. Viewers develop emotional bonds with the personalities on the screen, and the bonds can feel just as strong as face-to-face relationship. Third, amalgamation. The emotions shared on screen, whether it's sadness, joy, or frustration, become real for the viewers. It's almost like a shared emotional experience, even though it's mediatized. Adaptation. Media becomes so embedded in people's life that it shapes how they understand the world around them, including their mental health. With such a large following, Menjadi Manusia has created a space where people feel like they belong to a community focused on mental health support. To sum up, Menjadi Manusia is a great example of how media has become a trusted companion for people dealing with mental health issues. Through powerful storytelling and emotional engagement, the platform extends the idea of friendship, substitutes virtual connection for real life ones, and foster a genuine sense of community. This shows how media has evolved into more than just a tool. It's now a central part of how we navigate and make sense of our lives, especially in matters as personal as mental health. Thank you for your time and attention.
That is Influencer Politician Dialogues, Understanding Women's Gendered Experiences in Politics in India. So there has been a significant rise in influence. Namaste from India. I am Ms. Surbi Tandon, and along with my co-author, Professor Dr. Durgesh Tripathi, sir, I am presenting this paper at Acmc, that is Influencer Politician Dialogues, Understanding Women's Gendered Experiences in Politics in India. So there has been a significant rise in influencers or YouTube podcasters in India who exert a lot of pressure and who enjoy a cult following among youth in India. So this includes a lot of authentic YouTube creators or podcasters or influencers, as we say, and it also includes a lot of journalists from traditional media who have turned YouTubers. So both of them enjoy a significant popularity among Indians. There are a lot of rise in different categories, including podcasters who take politicians' interviews and political commentators on YouTube. So they have transformed the digital engagement, content creation, and they help in political opinion formation in India, playing a role in digital politics. As we all know, India recently undergone an election for the lower house of the parliament, that is the Lok Sabha, during April to May 2024. So we are going to talk about how women politicians' interviews and podcasts were showcase their experiences, gendered experiences of women politicians, and how it is opening a space for more inclusive dialogues, especially related to gender. So when it comes to influencers and digital politics in India, there was a survey in May 2023 by Rockington Insight where 72% of the respondents, especially the Gen Z and the millennials, talked about how they followed at least one of the influencers on social media, and they play quite a crucial role in their opinion formation, in getting news from those sources, and they thus today in India, celebrities may enjoy a lower popularity than these influencers. So younger participants were more inclined towards influencers due to relatability factors. India's young population was significant in 2024 elections for understanding, and a deciding factor for the elections. India undergone in 2024, when India undergone elections, it was the world's largest democracy going to elections with more than 900 million registered voters and a 65% turnout, which showcases the faith and resilience of the Indian democracy. Then we have had, over last 2-3 years, even political parties have realized that influencers play a crucial role in garnering support for them, in getting resonance with the youth, and for getting popularity on these platforms. So the ruling party, which was the BJP, or the government in power, just a few weeks before the elections announced the National Content Creators Award, and they gave out awards to the digital content creators who were in different languages. Earlier, there was also a controversy that the ruling government was collaborating and paying these influencers to take the interviews of their ministers. Then even the principal opposition leader have been giving these non-political interviews to these influencers to create an image with the youth. And these interviews have been called non-political interviews or soft interviews, which showcase the human side of the politicians. A lot of political commentators have even dubbed the 2024 elections as the YouTube elections or the influencer elections. So, review of literature. Professor Joyjeet Pal at University of Michigan have reviewed these interviews, especially in the terms of quantitative terms, where he has analyzed how many influencers have influenced which party's politician, and he has found that BJP's leaders were more featured than the opposition leaders in these influencer interviews. He believes that it is important, these interviews are important from the perspective that they showcase the human side of the politicians. However, when these politicians are not given very tough questions, or they are not held accountable for their actions or policy interventions, then these interviews might help in creating polarizing tendencies. So those were the main ideas of this paper, influencer collaboration on YouTube. Then some of the YouTubers have also refused political parties' invitations to invite to interview their leaders, because they believe then politicians exert a lot of pressure and they are not able to have autonomy and editorial control, whereas a former journalist who's now a very important influencer or a political commentator he is an influencer, Akash Banerjee, whose channel is called the Deshbhakt. He believes that because of the personalized, customized way, fun way, and unique content that these political influencers or digital content creators are, they are pushing the boundaries of traditional media, and more than even that. So this is also from the article from BBC, which also showcases the money these digital content creators are charging for even a single post. So a micro influencer might take 2,000 rupees for a post, and it can go up to 5 lakh rupees for maybe an interview or a post with some of the macro influencers on social media. Then the research questions was, how do YouTube influencer interviews reveal the gendered experiences of women politicians in India? How does YouTube serve as a platform for discussing personal and professional struggles of women politicians? Third, how does interview style of YouTube influencers shape the discussion of gendered issue in Indian politics? I have used feminist research methodology, which is crucial for the study as it gives importance to the lived experiences of women, especially in careers which are male dominated, such as politics. Feminist research also emphasizes on understanding the intersectionalities of power dynamics related to gender inequalities, personal narratives and anecdotes, and that is why it was important to use this methodology for this research paper. The approach Mr. Narendra Modi supported her during her struggle period, because he called up and said, what do you need? He to maybe answer the questions in in the parliament regarding the political controversy that was attached to her, and she talks about how her she managed that personal and professional crisis at that time, and she, because of the support that she got from the Prime Minister, she also talks about that for such leaders you go to war. Then the third and the last that I have analyzed is the interview of Miss Mahua Moitra. She is a current sitting member of parliament in the 2024 constituted parliament. She's an investment banker turned politician. She talks about how she faces bodily issues, especially menopause, and she talks about why is it important to talk about such issues which women face at different stages of life. She's been a fierce critic of the government, and she was disqualified from the last Lok Sabha, facing a political controversy that she took money for raising questions in the parliament. So just after going for a uterus removal surgery, she had to vacate the house, and there was an immense pressure. Just 4 days, because she has been a fierce critic of the government, she was forced to evict that house, though she was willing to pay for the rent for the government accommodation until she was staying there, but the government refused it. And how she says that I lost my membership, I lost my house, I lost my uterus, but what I've got is my freedom. And how she talks about how she dealt with such kind of situation, just going for a 4.5 hour surgery, and after just 4 days of the surgery, or after being in ICU, she was vacating that government accommodation because of the pressures she faced as a woman politician. Then the traditional media are significantly different, and she would there are also interviews where because of the comfort level and the kind of questioning which is non-incisive but showcases the human face of the politicians, the woman could easily share their experiences, especially very personal experiences of being in politics and facing the struggles there. Thank you. We look forward to presenting our understanding again at ACMC next year, maybe in person.
Hello everyone. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Nunik Haryanti. I come from Indonesia. Today I would like to present my paper about the representation of Indonesian culture through the children's storybook with the title Petualangan Kuliner Zoe. So I am a lecturer in the communication department in the Universitas Ahmad Dahlan. Now let's begin. Today I would like to present about my introduction, method, result, discussion, and also conclusion. Next. My background study is talking about book, children's story book. They're talking about every nation that usually has a symbol that reflects their national spirit, one of which is culinary. From the previous study mentioned that national cuisine plays an important role in shaping a country's identity. And then from the book Zoe Culinary Adventure or Petualangan Kuliner Zoe, researcher want to explore how the content of the children's storybook can represent Indonesia cultural identity. My method, I'm using qualitative method, and then using the content analysis of qualitative approach. In the communication, when we're talking about the qualitative content research method, using in the content of or the message. And also, the population in this research is including with the 4 books series from the Petualangan Kuliner Zoe, and for the total, from the book, They mention about the 19 cities and one ethnicity in Indonesia as a medium for representing Indonesian culture. And to analyze, the researcher using 7 cultural elements, which is language, knowledge system, social organization, equipment and technology system, religious system, livelihood system, and also art. Now we move to the result. From the result, from the first book, we can see there are 4 cities in talking in this book and also 1 ethnicity. For the whole series, for the whole city, each city, mostly they are trying to talking about language, knowledge system, living equipment, system and technology, livelihood, religion, and also the art. From the first book that we can see when we're talking about knowledge system, in the Padang tradition, knowledge system is exposed the dance and also the traditional house. We can see from the book, Rumah Gadang is a traditional house from the Padang. It's similar like Buffalo Horn. And also from the first book, we can see that every city, they have list of the menu. So people can understand which food that coming from each city. Next, for the second book, they are talking about the city Ambon City, Manado City, Pontianak, Banjarmasin, and also Kupang. Similar like the first book, they also mostly talking about the knowledge system, language, and the art. For example, like knowledge system, they're talking about Ambon traditional food, like gohu. Gohu is similar like sashimi from Japan. Is it like a food with seasoned tuna or bonito fish, sprinkled with the lemon juice? So people in Indonesia also have their sashimi. And also from the third book, they are talking about Bali, Yogyakarta, Surabaya, Pangkal Pinang, and also Mataram City. And similar from the first and the second book, they represent about the knowledge system and languages. From the third book, they mention about the uniqueness from the third book is they mention about something sweet that coming from the Yogyakarta city. Mostly people in Yogyakarta, they like sweet food. And also, because this is a special district in Indonesia, this place is trying to give understanding about the cultural city from Yogyakarta. This book is using a bilingual language, Indonesia and also English. And also coming from the third book, they are talking about the harmony and sustainability in Bali. When the people trying to make a house, they cannot taller than the coconut palm trees. Yeah, this is a knowledge system that represent about the cultural in Bali tradition. And then for the fourth book, still they mention about knowledge system and the language. And from discussion, when we're talking about the representation of Indonesian culture through the children's storybook Petualangan Kuliner Zoe, Mostly in this book, they're using knowledge system and the language is taking part about to talking about the cultural representation itself. And there is no social organization that mentioned in this book. Indonesian culture is exposed, a country with a multicultural and represent through the food. And the conclusion is the book of the Petualangan Kuliner Zoe is success representing the multicultural culture in Indonesia, and also help the children know about the multicultural culinary. Thank you. If you have any question, feel free to contact my email.
Bennett University, India. So my topic. Hello everyone, my name is Soumya and I'm a PhD scholar from Bennett University, India. So my topic is a community radio as a media construct driving social development and sustaining cultural heritage through the folk song. So we will see how does it work. So introduction, I would like to give a background that India has a 500 community radio stations which cater to various communities and provide for them. The community radio station Waqt Ki Awaaz, Kanpur Dehat, Uttar Pradesh, Radio Mayur, Chhapra Bihar and Vanya Radio, Madhya Pradesh have been utilized as a case study. The study collected data from the 3 community radio stations and in-depth interviews of community radio station managers. By integrating theoretical frameworks of the development communication with empirical data, the paper demonstrates that the community radio's grassroots approach fosters community engagement, empowerment, and resilience to address contemporary social issues. The study examines how community radio stations serve as a crucial tool for raising awareness of social issues by involving community members in both the creation and programming processes. The summary concludes by highlighting the difficulties and opportunities community radio station confront in promoting local culture, including financial limitation, technology constraints, and the need for the sustainable models. So the objective of the study, the research will look into the importance of community radio in preserving and encouraging folk culture. The study will examine the content of community radio broadcast with a focus on folk music, art and culture. Furthermore, the study seeks to understand the significance and existence of community radio in promoting local culture and the music. Finally, the research also seeks to identify the obstacles these community radio stations confront in maintaining the tradition or in preserving the local this art and culture folk song. So the literature review here is the community radio plays a vital role in preserving and promoting folk culture, offering a platform for marginalized communities to share traditional songs. It fosters culture's identity, engages local talent, and integrates modern technology for wider participation. Study also proves that this is actually a public community sphere where the community comes, participates, share, and thinks and discusses their issues also. So the research methodology is a qualitative method, especially in depth interviews. 3 community radio stations have been taken: Waqt Ki Awaaz in Kanpur Dehat, Uttar Pradesh rural area, Vanya Radio in Chicholi, which is situated in the tribal area, and Radio Mayur in Chhapra, Bihar. These three community radio stations have been taken based on the geographical conditions and the population, because these three are located in the three different geographical conditions of the India. One in tribal, semi-urban, and the completely rural. So the result and findings says that Waqt Ki Awaaz community radio station shared stories about their mostly female folk singers who find it more accessible to come to the studio when men are at work. These women are often judged, but they feel confident in the safe space of the radio station. They don't have any social media profiles or any platforms, and this is appreciation and acknowledgement from the radio station listeners only. Vanya Radio in Chicholi is a local radio station based in a tribal area. The Vanya Tribal Welfare Department was established to promote indigenous languages and cultures. Seheria, Gondi, Bhil are some of the languages that have been vanishing, and Bhil are some of the languages that have been vanishing, and speakers are very few in number. Vanya has established 7 community radio stations in 7 different tribal areas just to preserve the culture and songs. Most listeners of Vanya community radio stations are not very literate, and they don't own any smartphones, so they don't know how to make social media profiles. So their platform is only and only community radio station. Radio Mayur is situated in the semi-rural area. Few artists have social media platforms. Youngsters are mainly associated with it, but they still prefer community radio as their local interviews. The community radio practitioners take their interview, go through their struggles, life. So that is also very important for an artist, and they find recognition of their work only on the community radio. So when we see the analysis in the realm of the community radio, there exists a profound dedication to not only broadcasting music, but also preserving and archiving the rich tapestry of sounds that form the cultural heritage of a community. These community radio stations, often the heartbeat of the local culture, they go beyond the conventional role of the only mere transmitters. They become custodians of the musical history. The process of archiving goes beyond mere technically, it is an act of a cultural preservation. Preserving and archiving music not just a duty for these radio stations, it is an act of love. It is a recognition that the songs that fill the airwaves are more than entertainment. They are cultural landmarks, reflections of communities' identity. Through their dedication to archiving, fostering a sense of continuity that transcends time and technological advancement. In this way, community radio station became not just broadcasters but guardians of a community's musical legacy. So over the last decade, these stations have made efforts to preserve and revive a few lost songs. For example, Waqt Ki Awaaz has revived the Betua song, which was originally sung by the women in the Matha block locality while they were sitting. These songs mainly revolve around the experience of giving birth and were mostly forgotten. But Waqt Ki Awaaz has managed to preserve all these songs. In the same way, Vanya Radio Chicholi, located in tribal area, has revived folk dance that had completely vanished from the tribal community also. Records the artist, tunes of dance in audio form. Similarly, the Radio Mayur songs like Purvi, Chaiti, these community radio stations not only preserving the culture but also bringing social and behavioral change through folk songs on various issues like the health issues, breastfeeding, gender-based violence, anemia, organic farming, flood, any disaster, migration. So lots of their songs on the only social issues. Conclusion and the recommendation I would like to give here. Community radios do not play film music. Instead, they tend to feature the folk music during program breaks, and new media technologies have emerged in many ways. But community radios still provide a platform to all communities across cultures. Many communities across the country do not have access to smart technologies. In rural and tribal areas, marginalized communities are still struggling for the employment, livelihood, health, and education, making it challenging to have a smartphone with data. One limitation of this study is that it focuses only a few examples of community radio station, not all the states, only 3 states. Many such stations are facing financial sustainability issues. Any grants, funds for cultural preservation would help them. Financial support from the policymakers and authorities and the historians, government would make them more sustainable, enabling them to document their work properly. So various stakeholders like historians and can come together for the noble cause of the cultural promotion and the preservation. I would really like to thank and acknowledge the all 3 community radio stations managers and their work for their wonderful work. I'm really very thankful for giving me the time for this paper, for the research, and I think this would really useful for the policymakers to look at it, how the folk culture identity songs can be preserved through the community radio. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
All right. Thank you so much, our wonderful and dear presenters, for enlightening us with substantial and very current issues concerning our societies. Let us now take this opportunity to open the floor for some questions. No? If ever we have some viewers in our breakout rooms here would like to learn more from our presenters, you may raise your hand so we may be able to acknowledge you, and then you may be able to raise your questions to our presenters. Also, if you are shy, you can go ahead and type the questions, no, in our chat box, and we will be reading it out loud for everyone else to hear. Oh, we have a first question here from Somya Jha. Yes, Somya, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Mark. So I have a question for the Satvik Devi and one question for both the presenters and for the Garima, that the time frame they have chosen. So first I would like to ask Satvik Devi, is she here? Yeah. Menjadi, the research paper on Menjadi. The time frame she has taken from 2018 to 24. So is there any specific reason to take this time frame? And the same question is for the Garima Sharma, Gaon connection, that she has taken the January 2024 to June 2024. So is there any specific reason for choosing this period? So one question for 2 presenters. Thank you.
Thank you, Somya. Let's wait for the response of our presenters. I hope they are here with us. Let's start first with Prihandari. Is Prihandari here?
She was here earlier.
Okay, maybe we can divert that question to Lokesh Sharma or Garima Sharma for in the meantime.
Yeah. So am I audible? I am Dr. Lokesh Sharma.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah. So on the behalf of Garima, I am going to answer the question of Soumya. First of all, before coming to the answer, let me thank to the organizers for this wonderful opportunity, especially Dr. Walter, because since the announcement of this conference, the Dr. Walter has been continuously in touch, and he was communicating each and everything about this conference. But due to the clashes of our biggest festival of Diwali, we could not attend this conference. So yes, anyway, sometimes we will meet. So our research is about the Gaon connection, which is one of the initiative of Nilesh Mishra, and he is playing a linkage between the Gaon. Gaon means village, and the people who are in the urban areas, particularly the teachers and all. So the time frame we chosen this, there is no specific reason, but we considered this the recent time actually, because when we were conducting the research on this topic, we thought we will have to we because we were planning to conduct this research for a research paper. So we took a short span of time of 4 5 months, and we took the recent time so that we could also uh, look into the things in the contemporary manner actually. So that is only the reason behind choosing this specific time period.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Lokesh.
Yeah.
Okay, is Satvika Dewi, is she around now? Has she logged in again? Or is she still not here? Okay, she's still not around. I was able to collect some questions from the floor. They were sent to my chat box personally today, a few moments ago. And please allow me to address these questions to our dear presenters. I hope you're still here. Huh? The first question is for Miss Candice Lieses. And the question is, how does your research propose to protect children against sexual abuses brought about by the traditional media and the emerging media? Are you here, Candice?
Hi, yes, I'm here. Thank you so much for the question. Can you repeat it, please?
How does your research propose to protect children against sexual abuses brought about by the traditional media and the emerging media?
I think that there are a lot of safeguards right now, in terms of, protecting children from the media, because it's not really the media that's harming them directly, right? So, for example, if you're, one example of such safety net is like, say, for example, you want to go and interview a minor, or you want to go and interview, um, like a child who's been subjected to such abuse. You have to go through a very lengthy um process to get that interview. So I think that's one. Another is they could go through things like, or they could rather go through specific institutions like the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or through the guardian of the child. So what I did notice is that, again, in the data, they did not directly interview children, again, for logistical reasons and because there are a lot of safety nets involved, which is a good and bad thing in general, because again, it's good because, it kind of minimizes possible harm that such interviews can do to the child. But also, it could be an issue in terms of, getting their voices heard as well. So I think that one thing that they could do, which I really liked, was something that Rappler did. They were the only one that actually featured an interview with a child. And what they did was, they asked a person who was a guardian of a child, and basically the guardian was the mediator. The guardian was asking the questions to the child, and so the child would go and answer the questions in a safe environment away from the reporter. So I think that's a better way to be able to kind of get the voice of the child heard as well. So again, it's quite difficult. There aren't a lot of policies about it, surrounding the, something like this yet. So hopefully, more tangible and clearer guidelines on how to interview children, and also maybe especially those who are a little bit older, to kind of encourage more participation, not just from abused children, but in children in general, to participate in things that are important for their empowerment and important for their participation in, things like policies that would concern them. So that's for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Candice. So basically, social awareness is starting, and at the same time, people are becoming conscious on the bold steps that we do in protecting the victims. Thank you, Candice, for your answer.
Thank you as well.
All right, I'd like to move now to Carol Ilagan. Are you here, Carol?
Hi, yes, I'm here.
All right, Carol. The question I received a while ago is, what are your hopes for independent news organizations in your country? What should the government do to protect journalists based on the analysis of your study?
Uh, Hold on. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon from Manila. Thank you for the question and also for the opportunity to present earlier. In terms of the question of if we're talking about what the government can do, I think in the context of the Philippines, we have to address several threats being faced by journalists and the media in general. So, of course, taking note of both old and new or emerging threats. So, I think that's one way where we can start. But I think from the point of view, from the findings from the study, I think generally media sustainability is really one big issue. So I was hoping of looking at the new startups or media startups in the Philippines, primarily to look at potential models for other new startups also, especially in the context of local media. So I think that's one of the things that might be helpful to address. But with regards to what the government can do in that regard, in terms of media sustainability, it's a big question to answer. But perhaps what I can think about is more on, of course, minimizing and not adding to the threat that journalists here face. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol, for your informative input. Let's see here. Is Prihandari back online? Is she still here? No. Okay, Prihandari is still not here. We have a question for, just a moment. We have a question for Surbi. Surbi. Okay. We have two questions. Are you here, Surbi? Okay, it seems Surbi is not around to answer our questions. We move forward with Nanik Hirayanti on your presentation of cultural children's storybook. What are the role of children's storybook in creating and recreating critical thinking among young people?
Then, can you repeat the question again?
Okay, the question is, what is the role or what are the roles of children's storybook in creating and recreating critical thinking among young people?
Okay, thank you for your question. The role for the children to know about the to make the critical thinking is because the children has something that really essential.
Tatay for.
Essential for.
Mama dati kadwami nga taga Vietnam.
Hello?
Digi Vietnamese. Kasi da Jason na tata.
Hello?
Historia.
Kindly mute, please, if you're not the speaker.
Mure agsuro ti 100 yes nga basbasa.
This is my turn to speak. Okay. This is the essential for the young children to make a critical thinking because they're trying to increasing their knowledge since they are young. So it can be raised after they are getting adult something. This is the essential thing that uh, we need to we need to do it to give the children know about the identity of the Indonesian culture itself. This is my answer.
Mhm. All right, those are very good answers. They're very much adequate. And thank you for that. I'd like to move to Somya Ja. And the question I received is, how did the people feel, or what were some of the manifestations that they felt hearing cultural heritage folk songs through media and community radio?
Thank you, Mark, for this question. So, I would like to share that most of the community radio stations, those who are running, basically the folk songs they are producing, creating. So it's not just they are just playing the song; they are just broadcasting the song because they have to do. It's a part of their culture also. So these songs are basically they are passing generation to generation, and these songs are basically culturally based. So for every season they have song, for every moment they have song, for every life cycles there are songs. So these community radio stations, as you said, the manifestations, so actually these community radio stations are basically these are part of their songs, and community radio is basically the archiving those songs. Now these songs are vanishing, so it's a very important for government also, state government also, local government also, to preserve and to support the community radio. I hope I have answered your question a bit to some extent.
That's very encouraging, Somya. That's very nice. And looking forward, we are really preserving the culture of those communities. We're glad that you shared this information to us. Okay, let me just.
Sorry, but we're now moving to the next session. We have a 4:30 to 6 p.m. session for the OCP2.
Okay, let me just close this session.
Yes.
Dr. Khan, please allow me.
Yeah, we can ask more questions after the second session.
Okay. I'd like to share with you my screen. Just a moment. All right. All right, so this certificate will be given to our esteemed colleagues, our presenters this afternoon. Asian Congress for Media and Communication 2024 International Conference, Vietnam. The certificate is awarded to you, esteemed presenters, during the Asian Congress for Media and Communication 2024 International Conference, with the theme Media Constructive Media, in partnership, of course, with Vietnam National University, Ho Chi Minh City, University of Social Sciences and Humanities, 31st of October to November 2, 2024, signed by the President of Asian Congress for Media and Communication, Smith Bunchutima. All right. So thank you so much for joining us today. And
they can stay
Thank
for
you.
the next session if they would like.
And we're inviting you to stay to the next session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Very
you.
much.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Thank you very much. See you then
Thank
for
you.
the next
Thank you very
session. Yeah. Okay. With the same link?
Yes, an hour.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. See you then.
Dino, the floor is now yours for the next OCP3.
Hi, good afternoon once again. Good afternoon to all of you. Welcome back to our main room. My name is Assistant Professor Divino L. Cantal Jr. from Trinity University of Asia, Manila, the Philippines, and I am the Deputy Director of the Asian Congress for Media and Communication. I hope that you have enjoyed our first two parallel sessions, and we will immediately begin with our third online parallel session today. And I would just like to acknowledge the following presentations which we are going to show to you today. We will have seven videos. The first video that you will be watching today is from Hungary. The title of the paper is The Use of Artificial Intelligence Tools in Higher Education in the Field of Media Sciences, Results on Empirical Research in Hungary. This is authored by Monica Andok. She is from the Pázmány Peter Catholic University of Hungary, together with her co-researchers Zoltán Rajki, András Radecki, Dora Zil, all from Pázmány Peter Catholic University from Hungary. I apologize if I mispronounce your names. It's very difficult to pronounce. Our second presentation will be coming from India. The title of the paper is Crafting Positive Realities, Analyzing the Better India's Constructive Media Approach. And this is authored by Dr. Madhavi Ravikumar. He is an assistant professor from the Department of Communication at the University of Hyderabad in India. The third presentation will be coming from the Philippines. The title of the paper is Hell Hath No Fury, Women's Rage and Revenge in Lino Brocas, Insiang, 1976, Angela Marcado, 1980, Babangon Ako't Dudurugin Kita in 1989. This is authored by Maria Angela Meneses and Kathleen Jamaica Gomez of the Angeles University Foundation. The fourth video that you will be watching today is from India. From the Philippines, the influence of digital media literacy on critical thinking. That is the title of their paper. This is authored by Ayla Jane S. Hosol and Nika Marie Hernaez, Jasmine Makasiev, Izel Rose Pada, Michelle Simbul, and Janica Zamora, all from the Polytechnic University of the Philippines College of Communication. And the next video will be coming from Sri Lanka. That is AI Challenges in Education in South Asian Developing Countries, a focus on Sri Lanka and other nations, by Mahendra Wijayakun from the National Institute of Education of Sri Lanka. And the last video is from the Philippines, a case study of the role of DYUP Cebu in promoting the services of the University of the Philippines Cebu University Library, by Maurice G.T. Villaester of the University of the Philippines Cebu. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let us watch the videos of our online presenters for the third parallel session on constructive communication.
Dear audience, dear section leader, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to introduce our research, The research to be presented now was carried out together with three of my colleagues, Zoltán Rajki, Dora Szilcel, and András Radecki. My name is Monika Ando. All of us are lecturers at Pázmány Péter Catholic University in Hungary. Today, Zoltán Rajki and I will present to you our research. The title of the lecture is The Use of Artificial Intelligence Tools in Higher Education in the Field of Media Sciences, Results of Empirical Research in Hungary. Artificial intelligence has become a pervasive force in contemporary society, influencing diverse sectors and driving transformative changes across various industries. It is reshaping the daily life, labor, and education. In this context, higher education is poised to experience significant shifts as universities and educational institutions actively explore the integration of AI into pedagogical practices, administrative processes, and research capabilities to optimize these critical areas. Of course, the incorporation of AI in higher education presents a complex array of opportunities and challenges that necessitate thoughtful consideration and scholarly scrutiny. AI technologies have introduced a paradigm shift, enabling possibilities for personalized learning, data-driven decision-making, and innovative pedagogical approaches. For instance, adaptive learning system process large dataset, facilitating the creation of individualized learning pathways catered to students' distinct learning styles, preferences, and abilities, thus enhancing their educational experiences. Of course, the use of AI in higher education raises concern regarding potential biases in the AI algorithms, which could perpetuate existing inequalities. Issues of fairness, transparency, and accountability are critical, as are concerned of students' data in AI-driven systems. The integration of AI in higher education has garnered significant scholarly attention due to its potential to revolutionize traditional pedagogical models, optimize administrative functions, and elevate the overall educational experience. According to SAIDA, the use of AI in education will benefit in four major areas. First, in personalized learning. The second is optimized teaching and administrative processes. The third is enhanced student support services, and the fourth is advanced learning analysis. So in sum, while AI presents remarkable opportunities for innovation and efficiency in higher education, its implementation must be approached with a critical understanding of the associated ethical, social, and technical challenges. And now I would like to give the floor to my colleague, Zoltán Rajki, who will present our empirical research.
Sampling procedure was following. The sample was taken from full-time or part-time undergraduate, master's or PhD students in humanities, economics or pedagogy using email or Facebook. The online questionnaire was available on survival.com between 14 September and 14 October 2023. The self-designed questionnaire consisted of 27 questions, including open-ended, closed-ended single and multiple choice and Likert scale questions. The questionnaire was completed by 1,201 people. We focus our attention on students of communication and media. In the first part of our research, we looked at where and in what form people have encountered the concept of artificial intelligence. The data shows that 1/5 of the responding communication media students in education have not encountered any AI-based applications. It can be seen that of the forms generally mentioned, those are directly related to the instruction and teaching are the most prominent, 56%, university course materials, and 47% academic articles, while the role of the other learning sources, 60%, seems to be less prominent. The role of the student peers can also be said to be important, as reflected in the proportion of over 40%. In the next question, we asked which AI-based tools have been used by university students during their studies so far. The questionnaire asks about the use of 13 AI tools in education. Of these, 2 applications stand out for their popularity, Duolingo and ChatGPT. More than 2/3 of communication students reported using the former, while more than 50% had tried ChatGPT during the studies. These 2 applications are followed significantly behind by Grammarly for English grammar and DeepL for language translation. The other 2 most frequently used AI applications, Bing Chat and Google Bard, accounted for less than 10% of communication students. We also looked at the areas where respondents would be open to using AI-based tools. Our data show that 4/5 of respondents would be willing to use an AI tool to solve their foreign language problems. Almost 90% of them indicated learning a foreign language or translating different texts. Then almost 3/4 of the respondents mentioned grammar checking, sterilization of seminar papers, and collection of material for papers and reports. However, more than 50% of university students would use AI tools to prepare visual material for seminar presentations and would welcome the use of simulation, teaching, and personalized interactive materials. The most problematic part of the question is the use in the preparation of essays and theses. The figure of around 40% is considered high. It is also worth investigating what barriers to the use of AI tools are mentioned by respondents. From the data in the graph, it is clear that for the communication students, the most common barrier is ethical concerns, followed by lack of knowledge. The proportion of responses reflecting financial and privacy concerns is not much lower than these figures. A third of the communication and media students surveyed cited not being able to finance paid tools and privacy issues as a problem. Result of the questionnaire survey, more than 80% of the students of communication media have had some form of encounter with the concept of artificial intelligence and its various applications in the academic context during the period under study. Among those who completed the questionnaire, a significantly higher proportion of communication students reported having encountered AI in some form in their university or secondary school curriculum. This may partly explain why they had a significantly higher proportion of users of the more popular AI applications like ChatGPT, Bing Chat, Duolingo. Furthermore, they also had a significantly lower proportion of people who had not yet used an AI tool in their studies. This is also partly explained by the fact that significantly fewer of them cited lack of knowledge and the difficulty of using these tools as barriers. Thank you for your attention.
Dear audience,
All right. We apologize if some of us would have a very unstable internet connection. But a while ago, I mentioned that the next to present is Dr. Madhabi Ravikumar. Unfortunately, Dr. Marhadi was not able to present. So we will be proceeding with the next presentation from the Philippines entitled Hell Hath No Fury, Women's Rage and Revenge in Lino Broca's films in Shang 1976, Angela Mercado in 1980, and Babangon Ako Dudurugin Kita in 1989. And please reserve your questions, just like what we did in our earlier presentation, parallel sessions. We are going to have the questions and answers towards the end of all the presentation. Thank you. Please watch this.
The portrayal of women in cinema has shifted from passive figures to fierce warriors. Humaniora 2022 states that, historically, women were shown as weak and dependent, with their anger often dismissed as incompatible with traditional femininity. In Philippine cinema, according to Santiago and Denton, 1993, director Lino Broca stands out for highlighting female rage and amplifying women's voice in a male-dominated industry. This research examines 3 films to understand how their female protagonists express rage and seek revenge against oppression. It aims to shed light on women's portrayals in cinema and foster discussion on social justice, power, and gender dynamics with the aim to answer the question, how do the films in Siyang 1976, Angela Mercado 1980, and Babangon Ako't Dudurugin Kita 1989 portray female rage and revenge? Women's representation in films has historically reflected societal biases. Laura Mulvey's Visual Pleasure and Narrative Cinema 1975 points out that early cinema often depicted women as passive objects for the male gaze, reinforcing their lack of agency. While recent films, according to Castillo et al. 2023, has shown women as empowered figures, but still, challenges remain limiting their roles in cinema. However, the Lena 2018 states that media often depicts women as romantic interests or victims, limiting their roles and distorting perceptions of womanhood. Ansong 2023 notes that the babaeng nanlaban narratives highlights women's struggles, but often evokes pity instead of empowerment. Despite some progress, much work remains to enhance women's representation and reflect their true complexity in Filipino cinema. Furthermore, YAR 2014 states that revenge is a central theme in cinema, especially in contexts lacking justice. While often seen negatively, it can arise from ambition or rebellion. Kelly 2014 notes that audience find catharsis in films where victim confronts injustices, particularly women reclaiming agency. Lastly, female rage in film symbolizes resistance, with Hildonan 2023 suggesting it reflects a need for emotional expression after societal suppression. However, Garcia et al. Notes that women who display anger often face accusations of madness, reinforcing patriarchal norms and limiting acceptance of female anger despite its portrayal as a valid response to injustice. Despite that, Catalino Lino Ortiz Broca, a national artist and influential filmmaker from the 1970s and 1980s, uses films to tackle social issues like corruption, poverty, and human rights violations. The researchers selected 3 of Broca's films to further explore themes of female rage and revenge, namely in Siyang 1976, Angela Mercado 1980, and Babangon Ako't Dudurugin Kita 1989.
For our methodology, this study uses BART semiotic codes and Lorec's framework to analyze female rage and revenge in Lino Broca's films in Siyang, Angela Mercado, and Babangon Ako't Dudurugin Kita. In BART's 5 narrative codes, which are hermeneutic, proeretic, semantic, symbolic, and cultural, they uncover layers of meaning in the films. Lorec's framework from violent women in contemporary cinema focuses on conditions like triggers of rage, acts of revenge, character formation, and empowerment through violence. Together, these methodology reveal how female characters evolve from victims to agents of retaliation, challenging traditional gender roles in cinema. Also, our study used a matrix analysis that details each film scenes, including timestamps, descriptions, character dynamics, and Bertician codes, integrated with Janice Lorec's conditions. This approach systematically identifies thematic patterns, highlighting the interplay between Bertician codes and Lorec's framework to deepen the understanding of female rage and revenge in the realm of cinema. Diving deeper into our findings, our analysis reveals the dominance of the proeretic code with 97 scenes, emphasizing action-driven narratives where trauma leads to violent revenge as empowerment. The cultural code's minimal presence with 7 scenes suggests that societal issues play a lesser role. Lorec's key theme, acts of revenge, with 23 scenes, highlight revenge as the central response to oppression, while empowerment through violence with 7 scenes suggests that while violence empowers, it is not the main focus, while revenge being the primary mechanism of empowerment. We identified several patterns and themes from the analysis of scenes in the films. These themes shed light on the portrayal of female rage and revenge, revealing complex dynamics within the characters' narratives. First, we have sexual violence and objectification, which are crucial triggers of female rage in the films. These aligns with Bart's hermeneutic code, which gradually reveals the motivation of female protagonists behind their aggression. Lorec's triggers of rage concept is evident as this violation shifts women from victims to aggressors. The film suggests that persistent objectification and abuse leave women without choice but to respond violently, framing their rage as a justified reaction to their circumstances, where their portrayal highlights a societal failure to protect women, legitimizing their anger as a response to systemic misogyny. We also identified the theme of isolation and entrapment in oppressive environments. Physical and emotional isolation plays a significant role in shaping the character's rage and desire for revenge. Scenes set in claustrophobic spaces like captivity or confinement reflect the lack of freedom that the women experience. Bart's symbolic code captures these restrictive settings, turning them into metaphors for oppression. Lorec's character formation is evident as these environments amplify the character's awareness of their powerlessness, propelling them toward rebellion against both physical and social constraints. We also identify the psychological build-up of female rage. The films emphasize a gradual psychological build of rage before physical actions take place. Subtle, indirect scenes of reflection and silent suffering signify the internal emotional struggles that lead to violent outbursts. This theme aligns with Bart's semantic code, where gestures and body language reveal the character's evolving emotions. Lorec's character formation concept is a central theme here, illustrating that the transition from passive victims to defined individuals is a slow, gradual process by internal conflict and reflection on their oppression. The theme of rejection of societal expectations and norms. The films highlight women's rejection of societal norms and gender roles. Indirect scenes depict female characters being belittled by authority figures, underscoring pressure to conform. Aligned with Bart's cultural or referential code, these moments reflect gender expectations. Lorec's triggers of rage concept shows how defying these norms fuels their sense of injustice, driving them to commit revenge against both individual and societal oppression. And lastly, violent retaliation. This is a central theme in the films, acting as a crucial tool for female characters to reclaim agency. Bart's proeretic code highlights how their actions drive the narrative forward, asserting power through violence. Lorec's concepts of acts of revenge and empowerment through violence show that these deliberate acts serve as the only means for women to regain control in a system that silences them, transforming their rage into a powerful rejection of victimhood. We hope this presentation has offered a deeper understanding of the complexities surrounding these characters and their acts of defiance. As we continue to delve deeper with our study, it is our aim that we push for broader narratives that empower and challenge societal norms, not just in films, but in our everyday discourse.
Mabuhay at magandang araw. Today, we will be presenting a bachelor's thesis titled The Effects of Digital Media Literacy on Critical Thinking, authored by the journalism students from the Polytechnic University of the Philippines College of Communication. Before we proceed, allow me to introduce the researchers. Hosol Ayla Jane, Hernaez Dica Marie, Makasheb Jasmine, Pada Izel Rose, Simbol Michelle, and Zamora Janica. At this point, let us discuss our thesis. In an ever-evolving digital world, journalism has also partaken in practices involving digital media. The rampant spread of disinformation has pervaded the competency in using digital media tools and served as a challenge to good journalism. Hence, initiatives to counter disinformation and awareness of its urgency must be implemented to control the outspread of information disorder that affects both digital media literacy and critical thinking ability. The study used the social media literacy model by Van Winsberg, Bordy, and Verdigam to execute the foundation of the study purpose. The model centralized on how they decode social media information along with their level of competency. Before we proceed with the study's methodology, These are the hypotheses of our quasi-experimental research. Null hypothesis indicates that there is no effect and relationship between digital media literacy towards critical thinking of students, whereas alternative hypothesis states that there is a relationship or effect between digital media literacy and students' critical thinking. The study used a purposive sampling technique whereby participants were divided into two groups. The treatment and control group of the grade 10 students of Lawang Bato National High School. Control group participants are repeatedly monitored both before and after the intervention. This study utilized the California Critical Thinking Disposition Inventory, or CCTDI, by Fashion and Fashion that contains two parts: a 4-point Likert scale with corresponding qualitative rating, and questionnaire to measure the critical mindset for the following dispositions: 1. Truth seeking, 2. Open mindedness, 3. Analyticity, 4. Systematicity, 5. Confidence in reasoning, 6. Inquisitiveness, and 7. Cognitive maturity. Also, the control group received pre-test intervention materials composed of brochure and video lessons for a digital media literacy program, and posters which examined, compared, and measured the changes from the pre-test results. The study is a whole week experiment for the control group that scrutinized their level of competencies with the materials provided by the researchers. The table on the left shows the total weighted mean for each section of the CCTDI. The pretest for the treatment group had a total mean of 3.13, which indicates that the student's critical thinking disposition was manifested. However, if we look at their pretest score on the DML questions, they only achieved a total score of 75. After the intervention, the treatment group's total mean increased to 3.24, meaning that the participants' critical thinking skills improved after the lectures and video lessons. This is consistent with the results of the post-test DML questions, where they achieved a total score of 120. The control group, on the other hand, had a pretest mean of 3.34, indicating a highly manifested critical thinking ability, and scored 93 on the DML questionnaire. The next table shows the areas of the DML questionnaire where participants scored lowest to highest. Question 6, which asked them to identify the type of disinformation presented, received the lowest score. Conversely, they scored highest on the question, "What is the right term for fake news?" From Table 13, it is clear that there is a statistically significant difference in the level of critical thinking ability among the treatment group after they have completed the DML program crafted by the researchers in comparison to the control group that had not been administered the intervention. There is an evident increase in the students' critical thinking dispositions in the areas of truth seeking, analyticity, systematicity, confidence in reasoning, and cognitive maturity. Additionally, the truth-seeking disposition acquired the lowest increase of 0.01, which is in congruence with Fashion et al.'s explanation that an improvement in this disposition can occur for years, with Buchanan arguing that truth-seeking is a personality dimension, thus an intrinsic slow development or change. Meanwhile, the intervention did not influence the treatment group's open-mindedness, as the weighted mean remained the same, and there was a slight but not significant decrease of 0.01 in their inquisitiveness after the administration of the DML program. Aligned with the study's findings, the researchers conclude that integrating digital media literacy program into the curriculum is critical. It is recommended that DML be introduced at earlier stages of education, given the increasing exposure of younger generations to rapid technological advancements. Furthermore, the presence of the Dunning-Kruger effect among students underscores the necessity for the education sector to address gaps in knowledge related to the effective and responsible use of digital media. Students' confidence in navigating digital platforms must be matched by observable competence. Participants' deficiencies in traits such as inquisitiveness and open-mindedness warrant further investigation. Further research could explore these dispositions through targeted DML interventions. The development of students' critical thinking skills is contingent on the effective implementation of DML instruction, which, as supported by Remien in 2002, depends on factors such as video-based lessons, the expertise of instructors, the quality of instructional materials, and the promotion of cooperative learning. And that is it for our thesis presentation. Thank you for your time and attention. We are now open.
I am Mahendra Vijayakwan, Assistant Lecturer, National Institute of Education, Sri Lanka. I started my presentation now. I use AI technology for this my presentation.
AI challenges in education in South Asian developing countries. A focus on Sri Lanka and other nations.
This is my title.
Mahendra B.B. Vijayakun, Assistant Lecturer, National Institute of Education, Sri Lanka. Introduction. AI has the potential to transform education in South Asia. Countries like Sri Lanka, India, Bangladesh, and Nepal can benefit from AI's integration. Key focus: technological infrastructure, digital literacy, economic disparities, policy frameworks, cultural resistance, and localized AI applications.
Here the first AI challenge in our country and other South Asian country.
Technological infrastructure. Insufficient infrastructure is a critical barrier. Many rural schools lack essential technological amenities like internet and hardware. Example: Sri Lankan rural areas struggle with AI adoption due to limited resources.
Okay, here the one example picture that mean Putlam district, Elwan Kulama Sinhala College. I show you some pictures, then you can understand challenges in Sri Lanka. Here the classroom, real classroom. Here the next picture I move, but here this one is in IEVAC that we donated some media tool for school media clubs. Here my DGs and senior officers there. Then, but I have to say, UNICEF funded this program 221 work. Then you can understand what type of AI challenge we have. Here the second topic.
Digital literacy. Digital literacy is low among both teachers and students. Limited exposure to AI tools hinders adoption. Study 2021. Many Sri Lankan teachers lack the digital skills to integrate AI into classrooms. Digital literacy.
A new curricular reform in Sri Lanka 221. Then we introduce a new subject, digital citizenship skill. Here the time that UNICEF officer also here. Some international subject specialist here, and myself, and our another senior DDGs is also here. This is the first time we are start in our country. The international subject specialist start some workshop for teachers. We try to cover this AI challenge in our country. After that, after this the teacher training program, we start the tryout program in schools. Teachers delivered their knowledge to students, and myself here and my senior officer here, we conduct some workshop in all the 9 provinces in Sri Lanka. Is the one workshop is here. Here my third point.
Economic disparities. Economic inequality limits AI integration in education. Public schools struggle to afford AI tools and training. Example: disparities in Bangladesh and India, especially in rural schools.
Okay, I'm not try to explain more about the Bangladesh, but here the rural school in India. This is the picture. You can understand, my dear educated friend. here the real situation in a rural, some villages in India. But you can understand economic background. But this is one picture. This is the image, and you have to imagine here the policy framework.
Policy frameworks, lack of robust AI-related policies in education, absence of clear guidelines for ethical and equitable use of AI. Example, Bangladesh lacks a cohesive AI strategy in education.
What I want to say from this, my dear educated friend, but before we start now the new subject in any university or the curriculum reform, we have to think about, the educated people must think deeply in a student capacity, their cognitive level, what they want, and after that, what they try to do. AI, especially, this is my topic, but not only that. Every education reforms or the education, any policy making situation, we have to another challenge.
Cultural resistance. Resistance to AI adoption due to traditional educational practices. Skepticism of technology's benefits leads to reluctance. Solution: awareness campaigns and community engagement to highlight AI benefits.
The culture is a main factor of everyone personality. Culture is a controller, all decision-making point, every person, every single person thinking. Then we have to think about when we apply this, when we try to use this. Before that, we have to give you good awareness program for everyone, each and everyone. Culture is sometimes a barrier. Sometimes they protect our unique things. We are standing in our 21st century.
Localized AI applications. AI tools are often designed for Western contexts and may not be suitable for South Asia. Lack of region-specific tools addressing local languages and teaching methods. Goal: collaborate with local developers to create tailored AI solutions.
We have to localize this AI application. We conduct some teacher training programs in the Batik law. Now we are trying to localize this AI technology, but we know this is our challenge. But step by step, try to delete these barriers, the challenges. Here, my next slide.
Case study: Sri Lanka. Some initiatives to integrate AI. Example: adaptive learning platforms. Major barriers include lack of infrastructure and teacher training. Government-private collaboration is key to overcoming challenges.
Okay, I told you, we conducted the teacher training program. This is a Kopai National Education College in Jaffna. Here our teacher training work, my dear friend, you can understand. But educated friend, this is another UNICEF funded program. We can introduce this AI technology in Sri Lanka as well as a South Asian country. We know these barriers we have, but barriers are not always barriers. We can open that barriers and we can move forward. We have to think out of box. That's my word. Okay, here my conclusion, my dear education friend.
Conclusion: AI offers transformative potential for South Asian education systems. Addressing infrastructure, digital literacy, economic gaps, policy development, and cultural resistance is essential. Collaborative efforts are required for successful AI adoption.
Then thank you that organization committee in Vietnam, and all of you. Again, I thank you, all of you.
Good day, everyone. I am Maurice Villa Esther from the University of the Philippines, Cebu, and for today I will be presenting my short paper titled A Case Study of the Role of DYUP Sugbo in Promoting the Services of the University of the Philippines, Cebu University Library. DYUP Sugbo has been at the forefront of mainstreaming campus journalism at the University of the Philippines Cebu and in Cebu City, one of the largest metropolitan areas outside Manila, the country's capital. Its history reflects its resiliency in providing relevant, timely, and accurate news and information both in and out of campus despite its sustainability related issues due to changes in faculty supervisors, lack of support in the campus administration, and waning interest among the UP Cebu community. On the other hand, the University of the Philippines Cebu University Library is committed to fostering a state-of-the-art learning environment for its students, faculty, and research extension and professional staff or reps through innovative services that meet the evolving demands for academic information. In pursuit of this goal, the library seeks to partner in promoting excellence in teaching, producing distinguished research, and providing outstanding operational services. So, why do these things matter? It's because last academic year, the DYUP Subu Campus Radio has opened its doors to different stakeholders in our university so they can promote their services. And in our university, most of the anchors or the broadcasters are student volunteers who have undergone at least a basic training on broadcasting. But that's not the case for these different stakeholders like our university library. So it's the first time that um, an office in our university has talked in front of a microphone, in a microphone, broadcasting their different services to our different stakeholders through our campus radio. With this, I would like to explore the experiences of novice anchors, specifically the anchors of live chat. That's the title of the program of our library at DYUP Sugbo. I also want to highlight and the challenges and triumphs encountered while managing the broadcast program dedicated to the university library services and identify areas of improvement in broadcasting process. So for my literature review, I would like to discuss two things: the impact of campus radio in society and campus radio as a tool for personal development. Society, particularly in rural areas, has historically relied on community and campus radios to foster growth and development by providing a platform for information sharing and self-expression. However, for these community and campus radio stations to reach their full potential, they must receive sufficient resources to remain sustainable. In Ghana, for example, Radio Universe, the country's first authorized campus community broadcaster, has significantly contributed to the local media landscape as a source of information and an avenue for self-expression. That's according to Odarty Wellington et al. In 2020. In addition to its societal impact, campus radio stations play an integral role in the personal development of their members. Many participants in campus radio claim that their experience has provided them with skills and knowledge beyond the technical aspects of broadcasting, helping them grow personally and professionally. That's according to Laor 2019. As a result of emotions, including nervousness, due to the lack of preparation and experience. However, as the sessions progressed, they began to enjoy it. They faced challenges in aligning their expectations with reality, such as reaching as many people as possible, and felt the need for better preparation. Some of the things that they did to prepare before each broadcast, they said that they scheduled topics and prepared scripts for the first week. They also practiced modulating their voices, watched sample videos, and observed how radio and other media personalities conducted their broadcasts to improve their delivery. Some of the strategies that they used during the broadcast include talking about one service per week to avoid overwhelming their listeners with too much information. Initially, the sessions were seen boring, but they found ways to improve engagement as they gained more experience. Some of the lessons that they learned after each broadcast include to be more confident in using the language and communicating with listeners. They also mentioned the importance of organizing thoughts before speaking and highlighted that they needed to make the topics more engaging. One of the key themes that emerged during the interview process include the highlights and breakthroughs that they faced during their broadcast. A personal highlight for one of the participants was fulfilling their dream of becoming a news anchor. The broadcast also helped them step out of their comfort zone and try something new, giving them a sense of accomplishment. In line with this, I also asked them about the role of broadcasting in the future student engagement. They said that broadcasting can play a vital role in engaging students and promoting academic services. Broadcasting can make information more accessible and reach a wider audience through various platforms such as social media. Another important highlight during the interview that I did with them was their feedback and suggestions on how to make the lives of future novice anchors better when they are broadcasting in our campus radio. They recommended more training workshops focusing on voice modulation and other broadcasting skills. They also suggested more structured rehearsals and better technical preparations, such as checking of microphones in advance to ensure smoother broadcast. They also suggested that the flow of the program could also be improved, such as incorporating breaks in between segments to avoid awkwardness and maintain engagement. To conclude this presentation, novice anchors at DYUP Subo, like our participants, experienced a mix of nervousness and excitement during the initial broadcast, primarily due to their lack of preparation and experience. However, as they gained more exposure and developed their broadcasting skills, they began to enjoy the process and grew more confident in their abilities. One of the key challenges faced by novice broadcasters, like our participants, was aligning their expectations with the reality of audience engagement, overcoming nervousness, adapting to the structure of broadcasts, and finding ways to make content more engaging were important triumphs. The sense of accomplishment from fulfilling personal goals, such as becoming a news anchor, was a significant breakthrough. Better preparation was identified as essential for a smoother broadcast, particularly in organizing content and engaging listeners. Suggestions for improvement included more structured rehearsals, technical checks, such as for the microphones, and incorporating breaks to improve the program's flow and avoid awkward transitions. Lastly, anchoring the broadcast helped the participants develop key communication and broadcasting skills, boosting their confidence and ability to interact with diverse stakeholders, such as students and faculty, thereby enhancing their professional and academic relationships. The participants also recommended that the future broadcasters should receive additional training, particularly in voice modulation, and more opportunities for technical practice to ensure successful and engaging broadcasts. That's it for my presentation. Thank you very much and have a great day.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the five presentations from Hungary, from Sri Lanka, and from the Philippines. And at this point, we would just like to commend all the presenters for the job well done. Thank you so much. You really did a good job in your presentations. Now we are opening our room for questions coming from the audience. Just a reminder, just raise your hand and I will acknowledge you. And as you ask your question, please tell to whom the question is intended to. And please introduce yourself as well, your name and probably the school or the country where you are from. We are now opening the room for questions from the audience. Do we have any question? All right. So probably I am the first one who will be asking question for this parallel session. This is not more of a commentary rather than a question because the presentation from Hungary and from Sri Lanka both talks about artificial intelligence. And if you are listening carefully to the presentation of two groups of researchers, the two papers, they are saying that in Sri Lanka there is a little challenge about skepticism of the young people in artificial intelligence, while in Hungary, based on the research that they presented a while ago, they are saying that AI is being used in many instances in writing papers and many other examples that they have presented. So there is a big gap here. I do not know if it has something to do with the economic status of a country. Hungary, being in Europe, probably is the people, the students are more advanced and more exposed to artificial intelligence as compared to Sri Lanka. May we know the thoughts of Mr. Mahendra Wijayakun about that, sir?
Thank you, sir. Then I want to say, because you know that the economical background, not necessary to explain more and more. But thing is that the three categories in the in any university or any schools in these students. The first one is they want to study the AI knowledge, and they want to do something good things. But the second one is they have an idea about AI, but they don't know after that what they want to do. Final one, they want to do some the study work, but they don't have any aim. Just they are complete their courses. They can try to do that quick earning for that AI or whatever. Then we have to understand, when we are deciding this the framework or any policy matters, but we have to think about these categories in our that that real world is the target group. Then we have to understand this first thing, that before, when we start any the framework or anything, we have to think about before that. But other infrastructures and economical backgrounds, everything we have to face. We can't change it now. Already we are struggling it, but we have some the good future, we think. But here the real situation in our country, but that educated people have a first thing, we have to take the real idea and the real good knowledge. What is this and how to use it? Because when the academic is a poor, the outcome also same. Academic poor means the knowledge is a poor, that's the outcome also the bad, so bad. That's the main thing. This is my decision and my idea. That's it.
Yeah. I agree with you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe we can also ask the idea of the paper from Hungary. Anyone from any of the authors of the use of artificial intelligence tools in higher education? I saw Sultan a while ago. Sultan, will you be free to open your mic and share your thoughts about this? Oh, I think we lost him. All right, so there is a message in the chat. Wait, that's for me. All right.
Have any questions, sir?
Sorry, that's nothing. I was looking for the authors of the paper from Hungary. Maybe they can share something about artificial intelligence as compared to your experience in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, anyone need my help or any other lecture post in any whatever university I can help through the online or whatever that on sit I can join with you and I can help it, because it's the free. Okay.
Zoltan is still here.
Zoltan, are you there? Zoltan, would you like to give something about the paper, comparing it with the experience of Sri Lanka with Hungary about AI? Like maybe right, yeah. All right, so I think I lost him again. It's okay, but question coming from the audiences, and it was sent to my personal message, sent to me as a personal message. This is intended for the researchers from the Polytechnic University of the Philippines. how would you rate digital literacy among your peers? So again, this is for our researchers from the Polytechnic University of the Philippines. How would you rate digital literacy among your peers?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Go ahead, girl.
Yes. Since we are students of College of Communication and we're studying journalism, I would say I would rate my peers 8/10 because since we've studying digital media literacy since first year college, we have integrated more knowledge as compared to earlier years, and that's why we chose high school as our target population because that is where we start the actual media literacy. And as compared to college students and of course our peers in journalism, we have accumulated thoughts or knowledge about digital media literacy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. What about your group mates? Do you have something to add to what your classmate has just mentioned? You're okay, Jasmine? Nothing to
Hello,
add, Nika?
am I audible?
Yes, Nika, you are.
In addition to Janica's answer, we created a questionnaire which was intended to calculate the digital media literacy awareness of the participant, which is we created that questionnaire based on the reliable sources, and we put that in there so we can measure the digital media literacy awareness of the participant.
Right. Yeah, that is very important nowadays, right? We should all be media literate for us to be able to consume media intelligently, right? So here's another question. Um, this is intended for the students of, uh, wait, let me just, hell hath no fury, women's rage and revenge in Lino Brocas in Siang, Angela Marcado and Babangon Ako Dudurugin Kita from the Angeles University Foundation. The question is, do you think that the Me Too movement will, do you think that with the Me Too movement, women will continue to have negative roles? Again, the question is, do you think that with the Me Too movement, women will continue to have negative roles? Anyone from the group may answer.
Good evening for everyone. Am I audible po?
Yes, you are.
Well, on behalf of our group po, I think and I believe that with the Me Too movement, women would actually would not have a bad reputation, or what was the term used again? Sorry.
The question is, with the Me Too movement, will the women continue to have negative roles?
Uh, no, because actually Me Too movement is a social movement that is against social violence and social assault. And with this, women would be given the platform to actually voice out what is really happening and what are the challenges that we are facing as women. So with Me Too movement, women would be given the platform to improve what is really happening and improve our our situation and give knowledge to other people that violence against us and abuses against us really happen, and that we are in the process of making a change for this abuses and challenges um, to be avoided, to be eliminated. That's what we believe as a group.
Thank you very much. Congratulations once again to all of the presenters. And at this point, I will be presenting to you the certificate that you will be receiving very, very soon. This is the certificate. Please allow me to read the text. The Asian Congress for Media and Communication 2024 International Conference, Vietnam. This certificate is awarded to you with your research's name over there. during the Asian Congress for Media and Communication 2024 International Conference on Media Constructive Media, in partnership with the Vietnam National University, Ho Chi Minh City, University of Social Sciences and Humanities, from October 30, which is today, until November 2, 2024. And this is signed by no less than the president of the Asian Congress for Media and Communication, that is Dr. Smith Bonchitima of Chulalongkorn University, Thailand. So you will be receiving this certificate in your email. So just wait for it to be sent by the Secretariat of the conference. And with that, once again, congratulations to everyone who presented today. Thank you so much. And we are looking forward for more conference proceedings and paper presentations in the next 3 days of the on-site conference. Maraming salamat po. Thank you so much, everyone. And good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thank you, and we are officially ending the online conference parallel sessions. Thank you, everyone.